Hello, wonderful humans of Earth. I don't really make motivational, verbal, vocational, whatever you want to call it, vlog type of videos anymore, or put them on my YouTube really. Haven't for some time. It's mostly because I haven't really felt like I've had the right to, if that makes sense. It almost just feels like I know that I struggle enough in my own personal ways, in my own personal life, that it just feels contradicting and hypocritical to even think about trying to really make any sort of like uplifting, encouraging, motivational content. In fact, it's even affected my writing now. I don't really write anymore as much like I used to, or at least as positively as I used to write, because a few years ago I used to write a lot more positively, and it was a lot more encouraging stuff to read and uplifting. That doesn't really happen as often now. So yeah, I just really haven't felt like I've had the right for a while, or like the authority or the honor, whatever you want to call it, the place, the role to create encouraging content like a motivational type of video like this one, I guess. Or what I'm trying to say with this video is, though, before I went rambling there about how I don't feel worthy to make this, is that I'm noticing something lately as my computer is getting older and older. And in my line of work, in my, what I do, music, music production, sound design, the composition and arrangement, the recording, the mixing, the mastering, all of that. It's starting to make sense as I get older now, and as my computer's age and health gets older now. The importance of moderating your craft, moderating your artwork, moderating your creative expeditions, endeavors, moderating how long you decide to work for, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It's like, this is a lesson in disguise right now, because my computer has had a lot more crashes, a lot more data corruptions with programs, applications, certain software, even just FL Studio to some extent or another. It's great. It's fantastic. I love it. If you couldn't tell, that's sarcasm. But it's humbling, because the first instinct usually, or typically, is usually to react, and it's usually to react in frustration and out of stress that something like that's even happening or taking place. Like the first instinct of human nature, just as it's a collective thing for the most part. Most of us should be able to admit this. It's important to be able to admit this, especially as you get older. Stuff like that just frustrates you. It stresses you out. It can even make you just downright angry that it's happening. And it starts to pile up, and it piles up with this feeling of interest, like a compound interest of a feeling of negative energy or a negative feeling. Yes. But what's humbling about it, just the fact that my computer's getting older, that I'm getting older, that stuff's just, been having issues, not really working as well as it used to, just more troubleshooting, just technical difficulties, right? It's not only teaching me to do more in terms of balancing my life and what all I do in a day, or do in a week, or do in a month. Like, for example, right now it's 10 in the morning, but I'm walking my dog, or my family's dog. I'm walking her outside. Now, typically what I would be doing right now is still continuing work on a track. But I decided that, just given some stress, it just makes sense right now, in this very moment in the present, or at least it did, 10 minutes ago, to shut down my computer, moderate my use of my computer and music production, and just take a walk outside with my dog at 10 in the morning, in the middle of a, work week on a Wednesday. And it's nice. It's actually nice. It's humbling. It's nice. It's a nice feeling right now to even just say to this camera with this microphone, wow, I've been getting angry again. Like really angry again. Really stressed out again. Really frustrated again with things. And yeah, a lot of it has had to do with just music production. Yeah. I've been doing this a long time now, since I was pretty much 12 or 13. So, and I'm almost 29. And it's pretty much like that point now in my life where it's like, I've done this for so long, but also have gotten so mad. Had so many times where I've gotten so mad or sad, like just straight up depressed, heavy depressed with this, or anxious with this craft, that right now it's making sense to moderate how much I work at any given time. A few years ago, most of the brainwave music that you would hear was made during the hours of the moonlight, made during the early hours of the morning, like 1 a.m. all the way into 7 a.m. Most of the 2016 to 17 brainwave music, the sound, all of that came from that influence, mostly, more than anything else. I've entirely transitioned to just working during the day for the last going on 4 years now. I took a little bit of a break or a hiatus in 2000, well, especially in 2020. I literally felt like I could get nothing done in 2020. It was awful. But, and I'm sure a lot of other people were feeling a similar way, because I worked in retail, so I couldn't leave. I couldn't stay home. I had to go work. You know, I just had to show up. I had to keep showing up. Didn't really have time to work anymore on music or my craft or myself, my own spirit, my spiritual health and walk and journey and relationship with the divine, and just generally speaking. And that's kind of how it felt for a long time. And it really, that frustration, I know it's like I'm just venting for a moment here, really. That frustration builds up over time, though, with like compound interest, a feeling of compound interest, frustration or stress. And so what do? You humble yourself when something like that happens. If you need to get angry, you get angry, but only get angry for a moment and just let it pass. Try to let it pass. Because you don't want to bottle it up. You don't want to just avoid your anger entirely, because that can actually lead to severe psychological struggles, which I've had for years. And a lot of emotional unavailability in others' lives as well. Just as a result of not wanting or desiring to feel anger when I need to feel anger again. Because I don't like feeling angry. It always makes me feel awful, like especially in the moment and then afterwards. At least if I'm still holding on to the energy that made me angry in the first place. Or at least if I'm still holding on to the thing or the dilemma, the situation, the scenario, whatever the case might be, that made me angry in the first place. If I'm holding on to it, it doesn't do me any good. If I just let it be felt for a moment in the present, though, and then just let it pass after, much, much better. But avoiding anger entirely for yourself, like just denying it flat out, saying it just can't even be acknowledged, like obliviousness. They say ignorance is bliss. I think you could actually say obliviousness or denial is bliss, but only temporarily and to a point. Obliviousness or denial of one's emotions on their emotional spectrum and their emotional capacity, for feeling, anything from anger to sadness to happiness. Suppressing or repressing that, or just even flat out denying it, any of your emotions, for too long, it might feel like bliss in the moment. It might feel like bliss temporarily. It might feel like bliss in the short term. It is not bliss in the long term. You'll have much worse, much more severe struggles as you're older if you just don't allow yourself to accept that you are feeling angry or sad or happy, just whatever it is. But I'm mostly talking about frustration, stress, and anger here for a moment, more than anything else. I made a video in 2020 about anger and about cultivating awareness or mindfulness of anger. But ironically enough, I was still struggling a whole lot with my own anger then, just as I am now. Just as I am now in 2024. And to just be real about that and just say that to this camera helps
so much.
Even if I don't decide to upload this to YouTube. But if I do, it's because God's telling me to, because it means it might actually help somebody. It might help somebody realize that it's actually okay to feel angry when you need to feel angry. Just don't make it your lifestyle. Don't make it your entire persona, your entire, just you, Don't identify with your anger. Identify with the spirit, identify with love, but don't identify with your anger. Identify your anger, but don't identify with your anger. Or don't identify as being your anger, or being the same as your anger, or having your anger essentially replace your first and last name, and then you just feel like, hi, I'm angry. Feel it for a moment and allow it to pass. Because that's what I'm doing, or trying to do. It's not always easy though. So I've been trying to meditate more again, cultivate more mindfulness that way, especially just breathing exercises. That's very, 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 very important, especially as you get older. One reason that it's good that my computer's health is dwindling a bit more is that now I can moderate how often I use it, how often I turn it on, and how often I turn it off, and work and whatnot, I can try to balance a healthier, routine that includes more hobbies or more things to do throughout a given week. So that was the first point I brought up, but the second point is really that this just helps with ear fatigue, especially because if you're mixing for really, really long hours or really, really long sessions and you're not taking breaks, that'll add up with compound interest too. You'll wake up one day and you'll wonder, dang, does this ringing in my ear ever go away? Does tinnitus ever actually go away? Probably not, no, but then, oh well. So, yeah. This helps because not only is it humbling, but I can do more things throughout the day other than just music production. Like being outside right now in nature, listening to the birds, and being around Freya, who I'm sure feels quite neglected and lonely most of the time. Mostly just because I'm swamping myself in work all the time. Because of societal cultural programming, yes. I noticed that I dug myself really deeply into work on music in the same way that I would become a workaholic in retail in 2019 and 20. And I've done the same thing with music now. I'm just a workaholic with music now, in the same way that I was in retail back then. So in a way, the late stage capitalistic mindset of work, work, work until you die, you can just retire when you're dead, you can sleep when you're dead, that kind of rhetoric, that kind of narrative, that doctrine, it has gotten to my head. I am officially one of those overloaded, grind until you die, stay on that grind, hustle, hustle, just, work, 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 even if you exhaust yourself to the point of decreasing your lifespan or your health in all dimensions, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically. Work until you die, then you can rest. And I've fallen victim to that really toxic mindset. Don't get me wrong, there is something to be said of a good work ethic. There's something to be said of working and putting in hard work. There really is. But my old Spanish teacher once said, don't work harder, work smarter. It's true. If you're working hard all the time and you put yourself into that overworked, exhausted, sleep-deprived mindset where your diet's terrible, your hygiene's terrible, you never sleep, you never take breaks from working, it adds up with compound interest that is pretty dang negative. And I'm trying not to cuss, here with that. Yeah, it's tough. It's really tough. And it helps to just say all this right now. It just kind of clears the air, gets it out, and it's freeing in a way. It's liberating in a way. Because I can just be honest. I can just be really, really honest about all this. It's great. With all of that said, definitely cultivate a mindset of working, with, a good spirit. Joy as much as you can cultivate at the given time in your life. With patience and with self-control if possible, with peace in your heart and in your spirit and your soul if possible, with love in yourself if possible, with goodness, kindness, gentleness, just whatever. Don't let it take up all of your space and time. Don't let it take up all of your space and time. Don't let this overwork, exhaust yourself till you die, work, grind, hustle mindset get to you and then take up so much space and time in your life. Because it takes up space and time in a couple different aspects or dimensions here. It takes up space and time mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. To, go balls to the wall, balls deep with just like, I gotta work! Oh, I'm resting, I'm relaxing, I'm taking a break, I'm chilling. No! That won't do! I need to be working! Yeah. That's not good long term. That's not sustainable long term. That is how people die of heart attacks or heart disease early in their life. Yes. Or develop severe psychological illness later in their life. Is through the mindset of work until you die and feel absolutely awful inside if you ever take a break. No, that is so wrong. That is so absolutely backwards, reversed, and opposite of how we should be looking at this. So we need to find balance, right? We need to find center, right? We need to cultivate a mindset of work, but work smarter instead of harder. Develop good work ethic, and try to work as joyfully as you possibly can, with as much love and peace in you as you can, with as much patience, self-control, etc., as you can. But don't beat yourself up if you need to take more breaks and relax, or do something that doesn't take up as much energy or space or, head space, heart space, physical, whatever, spiritual. So yeah, hopefully this video is helpful to somebody. This is what I'm noticing for myself lately. This is how it's humbling me, or how it should be humbling my ego lately. Because there's a reason, there's a purpose for my computer's health dwindling. There is a purpose for my computer crashing or shutting down more often, or programs malfunctioning or having bugs, and all of this. There's a reason for it. There's a purpose in it. There's a reason in it, and that's the mindset to have. Because if you don't have that mindset, what other mindset are you going to have? How else are you going to look at something like this when something like this happens? If not like that. The alternative would be going down a spiraling, destructive path of harsh self-criticism that would eventually lead to, damaged relationships with others as well. So, yeah, it's very,
very important
that you take more breaks, especially if you're working. If you're working on music And, you know, you got to take care of your ears, you know. Your ears are fragile. They got those hairs that are there today, but probably gone tomorrow. You know, the hairs that help you pick up on high frequencies, especially. Those hairs are very delicate. They're very fragile. You want to take care of your hearing. You don't want to damage your hearing. You don't want to work for as long at a time as maybe you have in the past. You know, you're getting older. I'm getting older. You know, it's harder for me to work longer sessions like I used to when I was younger, in my early 20s, and especially through high school. Through high school, I could just drown myself out in it, or like dissociate zone into it, into the process, and just make track after track after track after track, like just energy, man. But when you get older, you start slowing down. So you need to show up for how you're feeling in the present moment. If you're feeling tired in the present moment, you're feeling tired in the present moment. That's all there is to it. No amount of continuing to overwork and exhaust yourself is actually going to change or fix that and make it better. You know? You need to have more rest, more sleep, you know, more of a healthier, balanced, you know, maybe diet even. My diet's not great, but even I know that that's important. So just all this stuff, you know, right? Do as I say, not as I do. It's like, yeah, whatever. But no, but yeah, hopefully this video helps somebody today. I recorded it because I felt like, you know, the divine was actually telling me this needed to be recorded for somebody that needed to see it. No matter who you are. Wow, it's like a... All right, bye-bye.